Valentine's Day is coming, which got me thinking about the first time I cooked a Valentine's Day dinner. It was a disaster. I remember I did some ribeye steak with an attempt of a red wine sauce. The sauce was so acidic. One steak was overcooked, the other undercooked. The room was full of smoke. It was horrible. So I asked myself, if I could go back in time, what would I have done differently? So this is my letter to my younger self on how to host a Valentine's Day dinner. First of all, you're not a cook, and it's difficult to host and cook at the same time, especially if you have a small studio apartment. Don't cook on the day. Do all the hard work the day before. So on the day, all you have to do is to heat up some food and look really good. So we're going to do a very simple braising dish, and we'll finish it with a red wine glaze. Looks impressive, doesn't take a lot of work. Now, the braising joint. Today we're going to use short rib. Fancy, they're tasty, you can serve it on the bone. It's impressive. You have also the more budget-friendly option of beef chuck. Once you braise it down, it'll be extremely tasty, it'll fall off the bone. Beef cheeks, brilliant option. Very simple. First, we're going to sear this. Not to lock in the juices, to give them extra flavors. So, hot stove. Now, one thing you notice, I have 3 pieces of short ribs. Why? Because if you're cooking Valentine's dinner for the first time, the chance of you messing up is extremely high. So have a spare one. Serve the 2 prettiest ones. Save the last one for breakfast tomorrow. So always buy 1 more than the number of guests. If you have 3, respect. Buy 4. Once your pot is hot, we add some oil. Not olive oil, not butter. You need a high smoke point oil for it to not burn. So today I'm using vegetable oil. And because the shape of the short rib is a bit uneven, we're going to add more oil than you think you need. And we'll skim off most of the fat later. They go in. This is the sound you want to hear. If you don't hear this sound, take it out. Now you want to form one even layer. If you only have a very small pot, do this in 2 batches. And if you don't have a non-stick, like me, it will stick to the bottom in the beginning. Don't panic, let it be, leave it there for 6, 7, 8 minutes. Once it browns properly, they will release themselves from the bottom of the pan. Don't touch them and don't worry. And look at the smoke. That's another reason why we're cooking the day before. To paraphrase Lyndon Johnson, you don't want to cook where you're gonna watch Netflix later. We season very generously with salt, black pepper, and while that's searing, we prepare some very simple aromatic vegetables. So we have an onion and some carrots. Celery would be a great addition, but if you don't cook very often, you buy a whole head of celery. You're going to use 1 stalk. The rest will go to waste. So it's okay just to use the simple stuff. And if she tells you, oh my God, you did that celery, marry this woman. She's incredible. Because of the long cooking time, whatever aromatic vegetables we add in the beginning will become extremely mushy by the time the dish is ready. You can keep them quite chunky because we're going to sieve everything out anyway. What we want to do is for them to impart their flavors. Now the carrots, they impart so much sweetness. And we're going to do a fresh round of carrots tomorrow, just before serving. And those we'll actually eat. So these ones, we're not even peeling, just washed. And if you realize you don't have a peeler, go buy one for tomorrow. Now we're ready. Check on the short ribs. See, if they're still sticking, just leave them. Give them more time. Now honestly, imagine watching Netflix after this. Almost there. A bit longer. Now we can turn. Look at this beautiful color. Oh yes. That's flavor. The Maillard reaction. Protein at high heat. That's what's gonna make the short ribs taste meaty. Season the other side. Now, we brown the sides. And once again, we season. You see, that's why we have 3 for 2 people. Already, I have my favorite presentation pieces and my breakfast piece. It looks like I'm adding a lot of salt, but remember, we're gonna braise it in a lot of liquid. So the salt will be diluted by a significant margin. Now, once all 4 sides are browned, lower the heat a tiny bit, and you set the short ribs aside just temporarily. As you can see, like I said earlier, we added more oil than needed, and the beef has rendered a lot of beef fat. So we take this opportunity to skim off the excess oil. Now, to build flavors and mop up all those beautiful burn bits, we're gonna add the vegetables. Once again, we salt, A, to season, and B, to help the vegetables release their moisture. And the moisture would in turn deglass the pan, mopping up all those flavors. Black pepper. Before you add any liquid, the bottom of the pot should almost be clean. Now the steam coming out will evaporating the water content of the vegetables, concentrating their flavors, their sweetness, and that will in turn flavor the beautiful short ribs and the cooking liquid, which we'll then use to make our red wine sauce. Now, the red wine. Two very important things. One, please, 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 please buy cheap red wine. It will taste the same. Don't waste good wine. And number two, it needs a lot of time to evaporate. We're gonna first add a tiny bit so that I can still see the bottom and feel the bottom. And we use the liquid to help us make sure all those beautiful burn bits at the bottom have emulsified into our beautiful sauce. Now, once you're certain the bottom of the pot is clean, we add the rest. Half a bottle's fine. You can drink the other half, but again, you want to perform on the big day, you know, so maybe don't. Buy a half bottle. Now, reduction from experience takes around 8 minutes. You really want to reduce the wine almost by half. A, to evaporate the alcohol and the acidity, and B, really to concentrate the flavors. So be patient. All right, after 8 minutes, this is what you get. As you can see, the vegetables have taken on the color of the red wine. And it started to stain your spoon. It's not coating it yet, but that's how much reduction I'm talking about. Anything less than this, keep reducing. Otherwise, tomorrow you end up with a very acidic sauce. And we've all been there, I think. Well, at least I have. We very carefully lower our beautiful short ribs back into the pot. Of course, the resting juices, they go back in. We top this up with just enough water to cover everything. If you happen to have some herbs in your fridge, throw them in. But don't go out and buy a full packet of herbs just for this, and the rest would go to waste. This is flavorsome enough, trust me. Tomorrow we'll buy some herbs. We bring this back to a boil. We reduce the heat to medium low. About induction 3.5, 4. And to make sure that this is fail-proof tender, we'll cook it for 6 hours. Let it cool down to room temperature, remove all the vegetables, and leave this in the fridge overnight. And you'll have the easiest job tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. All right, day 2, the big day. Now, right after your morning coffee, you have a shopping list or a checklist. Number 1, you need a bottle of port. Cheap Tawny port, no need to splash. Half of it is gonna go into the sauce, and the other half, make a cheese board, cheese and port after dinner while you watch Netflix. Incredible. A bottle of red wine for dinner or whatever wine you fancy. Some nice herb, fresh mint in a pot just for presentation. Check you still have the carrots that you didn't cook from last time. If not, buy some carrots and a supermarket microwave or oven ready side dish that you're comfortable with. With a dish like this, mashed potato is incredible. Make sure, besides the pot you use to cook the short ribs, that you have at least 1 extra pot. Ideally 2 extras, but 1 is the bare minimum. Make sure you have 2 identical plates, identical cutleries, at least 2 wine glasses, ideally 4, so you could serve the port without having to rinse. And depending on your age, maybe get some cheesy balloons. We're ready to cook. After an overnight rest, this is what we have. As you can see, the fat has solidified and floated to the top. We take the opportunity, we skim off the fat, and you inspect the beef. This is your chance to choose the presentation pieces and to trim them and shape them if desired, because the fridge has solidified them. Once you heat them up again, they fall apart and it's very hard to manage. To make sure you do not mess up the plating, and you will, we grab Tin foil. Again, should be on your shopping list earlier, I forgot to mention. Well, you should also make sure you're still dating, because, you know, I've been there. Kind of changes the mood a bit. We wrap the individual serving pieces so that when it comes to service, you can just slide them on your plate without risking breaking them. And this also helps them maintain their shapes after such long cooking process. The red wine sauce, courtesy of the port reduction, close to half a bottle. And you reduce it at medium heat until it becomes a syrup. Now, the carrots, peel them. And they go into the cooking liquid. And they need about 30 minutes on the stove. Now, if you do have a third pot, we simply put the shaped ribs here, cover them with water, and you slowly bring some heat into them until they're just simmering. After about half an hour, the carrots have softened. Our port reduction is almost syrup-like. It has this wonderful shine and it's coating the side of the saucepan. We start adding the cooking liquid to the port reduction to form our red wine sauce. And now you reduce this down to a glaze. The short ribs, they've been heated through. So to make plating and handling easier, we drain off the water from the pot and give it a tiny bit of time to cool down so that they're easier to handle. With the carrots, we've given enough cooking liquid to the glaze, so the rest will also drain away, just to make last-minute plating easier for you. So, now we have 2 stations out of 3 ready to go. While the sauce is reducing, we throw this in the microwave. Final plating stage. We grab our plates and you make sure they're warm. You can simply run it under hot water, just so that the fat of the short rib does not solidify the moment they hit the plate. Once this is cool enough to handle, we cut one side open. Once this beauty is open, you make sure you drain off all the excess liquid. You take the warm plate, you turn it, kept its beautiful shape, beautiful carrots in the middle. You're solving for beauty, not nutrition, so don't spam the carrots. Supermarket mashed potato, 1 big spoonful. The very, very, very last minute, reduce this restaurant level, shiny red wine port reduction. It's coating the sides quite a bit, so now you grab a spoon, check for the consistency. You see how much it is coating to the back of the spoon. In this case, you can draw a line, stove off, and with any glaze, once they cool down a bit, they will also become a bit thicker. So factor that in as well when you're reducing. Now that we know everything's ready, you bring these to the table, you open your red wine, bring the mysterious herb with a pair of scissors, and you grab the whole saucepan, mixing vigorously while you dramatically approach the dining table, and you sauce the rib. Look at how the glaze is staying. Pair of scissors, you simply offer some fresh mint. And that's it. Fail-proof and stress-free Valentine's dinner. This is my letter to my younger self. Braised short ribs in red wine with carrots and mashed potato. I really, really hope you enjoy. And happy Valentine's Day.